Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AMPM podcast. My name is Manny and I will be your host, and this is the show where we discuss all things Amazon private label and how to generate recurring revenue streams 24 hours per day during the AM and the PM, hence the name of the show. Get it? AMPM podcast. As a matter of fact, I was walking through a beautiful castle in Granada, Spain with my girlfriend. It was just amazing. Touching the walls that were older than the United States. While I was absorbing all this history, I was making money. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hey everybody, I'm super excited because I have my buddy Norm on the line with me today. Norm Farrar. He's also known as the beard guy. If you just look at him in this video, you'll know why. Norm, how you doing, bud?
Good. How are you?
I am awesome. I'm actually very happy to actually have you on the show. We've talked so many times. We met at the Illuminati Live conference in Mexico, and it was actually after, it was at the bar. We were just talking. I think we had 60, 70 people at that bar talking. And one of the things that struck me was the SOP process that you went through, right? That you have in place. You want to tell everybody just real quickly a little bit about you and what that SOP thing was?
Sure. Okay. So a little bit about me. I guess I'm pretty much a serial entrepreneur. I love startups. I love getting companies going. And anyways, I guess I started out back in 1993 with my first e-commerce site. I was the president of a publicly traded company, which was the first publicly traded company in Canada for premium incentives. Ended up doing a variety of, I got involved with the tech industry. I had a small tech incubator back in Tampa, Florida. And then I went on, this is actually with my family. We bought 2 factories in Taiwan, got that going, contract manufacturing. Got into sourcing, so we have sourcing agents on the ground in China, and got into specialty packaging. So, I'm all over the map. So actually, when Amazon came about, it was, and if you probably noticed, I'm Canadian. I'll try not to say about too many times. But anyways, when Amazon came about, it was my perfect storm. So it brought everything together, everything you needed to do to be successful on Amazon. So one of the things, and probably the most important thing that probably changed my life, is a book by Peter Gerber, E-Myth, the E-Myth Academy. And went through that, went through the course, and started doing SOPs. So for our launch process, we have 272 SOPs. So we don't have to use everyone for a launch, but everyone is documented. Everyone has a process. Everyone has templates. Everyone has video tutorials. So we put everything in place. So if we do have to show somebody, or if somebody wants to go on holidays, they can. So I get pretty anal when I do my SOPs. And the one I think we're talking about is the coffee policy.
That was the one that I remember at the bar. I was like, what? You have one for coffee?
Yeah, how to make a cup of coffee. And so anyways, we had 23 people sitting down thinking about why it's important. We were trying to build this policy. Mm-hmm. And everybody thought this was like crazy. Why are you doing this? Well, at the end of the day, we found out how important it is to have that coffee on, consistency, how to save money, where is it, who's going to put it on, and everybody knows. And actually, we almost, we had a 3-strike policy. And one guy didn't do it twice, and he was one of my major sales guys, and he said, "Norm, you're not gonna fire me because I'm not making the coffee properly." And I said, "Well, look, we've gone through it. We've gone through the process. Now, if you don't do it, if you can't follow this, well, how are you going to follow the tough policies?" So he kind of got it. The light bulb went on, and now I'm, everything I do is policies and procedures, automated and scalable.
Yeah, that's the awesome thing about our chats is you've been able to scale your business like crazy, and you're such an unassuming guy. You were just hanging out. You're the beard guy, right? And right. You have bought factories. You've run, you've helped 8 and 9 figure companies, right, grow their brands. You've got an interesting story we're going to talk about in a little bit about some clients because you're working with a couple dozen clients at the moment, I believe, right?
Yeah, I have 20 clients that I've worked with, that I work with right now.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get into some hard-hitting questions. I want to get through some rapid-fire questions just so that the listeners and the viewers know a little bit more about where you're at with Amazon. You said you started back in the 90s. How long have you been selling on Amazon specifically with private label?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. And where would your monthly sales numbers be right now?
They range from about 750 to 1.2 million.
Okay. And that's per how often? That's per month?
Monthly.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you're doing monthly numbers that people dream about doing in a year. So that's awesome. Okay. Profit margin after all advertising costs, refunds, Amazon
All right.
fees.
So people don't believe the profit margins, but it all comes down to research. And one of the benefits we had with having the factory in China or in Taiwan is getting sourcing agents. So I don't believe in Alibaba. I don't use Alibaba. I don't use Alibaba Express. I go direct. And if I buy a product for, let's say it's a $10 or let's say it's a $15 product. So I'm looking at probably about a $1, $1.50 cost. Amazon's going to charge me about $4.65. The rest, you might throw 20 points in there for marketing. The rest is profit. So we're turning 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times profit.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. And how many ASINs do you currently have that make up these big numbers?
Hundreds and hundreds. Yeah. But I have to go back. Like we've got hundreds of products. We've probably got thousands of bundles. We believe in bundling. I think it's the best thing you can possibly do to optimize your product listings.
Well, how do you do your bundling? How's that work?
Yeah, sure. So we try to bundle every product that we have. I don't think, unless the category doesn't allow it, we try to bundle everything. And let's say soap, for example. So we might do a 1-pack, 3-pack, 5-pack of soap. Also under that parent-child variation, we might do, it could be different types of scents. It could be the scents with a soap dish. Or what I try to do with all my listings is I try to find like an under $1 added value. That could be like for us, it could be a soap glove or it could be a poof, something like that we can bundle together that helps protect our listing against hijackers. So when you're doing the bundles, not only do you get the traffic, like each title, all the keywords, everyone has different keywords associated with it. So what we try to do is get the most keywords possible on the product listing. So I don't care if somebody comes in and they have a 5-pack or a 10-pack, they see the 1-pack and they see the product that they want. And bundling by itself, you're probably looking at maybe a 25% increase in sales.
Really? Just from doing that?
Bundling.
Okay. And you didn't have to change. I mean, how much workload did that add to everything that you're doing?
I have writers that work with me on the research and the titles. It takes a little bit, but it's well worth it in the end. Okay. So once you start doing, you don't have to. What I'm trying to do in my titles is I just take a primary keyword. I try to put a couple of or keyword phrase, a couple of other keywords, and mix it into the title. I don't keep the titles too long. Like they're all under 150 characters, more or even less than that. I work with the Helium 10 product to work on my keywords in the back and get the best possible keywords. Everyone is different. So we're trying to see also how to optimize their listing. So the main listing that we have is I have everything relevant, everything that I need. The 10th parent-child could have some long-tail keywords or just, we're just grasping at straws to see what we'll get. But that might be an extra sale or two just coming in from these lower-end keywords.
You mentioned you do not use Alibaba or any of these places. You have a sourcing agent and you just go direct to the factories. If somebody wanted to do the same thing, they're like, you know what, I want to do what Norman's doing. How do they find a good sourcing agent to do that for them?
Well, you can research. You can just go on to you can try to find sourcing agents. You have to be careful too, because a lot of these sourcing agents are just brokers. And they might be brokers that are not only one, but 2 or 3 brokers deep. So like to give you an example, we were doing some EVA foam and we had to go through 3 different sourcing agents to get the proper foam. They kept doing something. We'd open up the foam at the end and it was in a full container, wrong product. So we learned our lesson early on about this. if you're looking for a sourcing agent, by all means, you can contact me. I have my connections, but you can also just go on to Google or Bing and try to find one yourself. There's tons out there, and you really do you want to make sure that they have connections with freight forwarders, that they have kitting and assembly, that they might have inspection. Who's doing the inspection. These are certain things that you want to have. You just don't want to have a guy saying, I'm a sourcing agent. You want to be able to utilize his contacts in China as well.
How do you know if somebody is 2 levels or 3 levels deep? Do you have like a technique for figuring it out? Price. You're
going to come back. So let's say a soap dish. I've been quoted on one soap dish, the exact same product coming from the exact same factory. One's $3.75, one's $1.75.
If you're going directly through your sourcing agent, have you found, can you use Alibaba to find a similar price for the same product, or have you just not seen that?
Yeah, what I try to do is when I'm sourcing, I'll go to Alibaba because I want to have a laugh, see what they're going to come back with, and then I'll see what the sourcing agent comes back with. And sometimes the one person that I use, the primary person I use, doesn't have the connections. It might be for wood products, so I have to go to somebody else. And it's just really getting to build a relationship with these guys.
Okay, cool. All right. When you're looking for a particular product, you're doing some product research. Is there anything special that you're looking for?
Yeah, the product has to have, if I'm looking at a supplier that already is supplying another company, so if I do have competitors, I usually do the Brady Bunch approach. I put my competitors around. I check out, what's happening, see if I can compete with them. I just look at the products a little bit differently. So if everybody's got a red plastic shoe stretcher, I try to see if I could possibly get it in wood, or could it be imprinted? What type of imprinting that you want? Can you etch it? Can you just put a silk screen on it? Can there be some identifier on there that shows your product to be different? It could be size. So you want to stand out. If everybody's selling a red shoe stretcher, then for the most part, unless you package it differently, you're all going to be bottom feeders. You're going to be product cannibalization, and you don't want to do that. The other thing that's really important too is if I do see people selling the product, they can't suck. You can't have 3-star reviews and think yours is going to have a 5-star review because you're getting it at a higher price or a better price. It's coming from the same factory. So if people don't like the product for certain reasons, and you have to look at those reviews, by the way. So if they are, sometimes you can get around what those negatives are, put a spin on it, and then you can maybe just repackage it something. Maybe that's the problem, is the packaging is terrible.
Okay. Let's talk about perceived value. You've always been big on this, right?
Yeah.
The packaging, the little things that you do. How do you go about creating perceived value so that a small investment turns into big returns?
That's the beauty of perceived value. Is it's usually the least expensive part of your investment. So it's the little things that everybody else don't want to touch, or they just don't bother touching. Everybody just wants to launch a product. So yeah, building a brand is great, but taking a look and being different than anybody else. So if somebody's got that red shoe stretcher, you've got something that might be black with a gold imprint that might look like a higher perceived value. It's the packaging. Like spending 15 cents or 25 cents, I've seen where I can get $7 more on certain products. And
can you give an example of that?
Yep. This is just a garden hand shear. They don't cost very much at all. Titanium blade. So what we did is we went out there. We said, oh, look, everybody else is selling steel carbon blades. Do you have anything that we can use to make this different? Yep, titanium. So then we started marketing the titanium. The titanium cost us 35 cents extra, 45 cents extra. We were able to sell it for $7 extra. We increased the clamshell. It came in a clamshell. We created a really nice package, micro corrugated. You open it up. It actually came in a separate package. I've already used these. and then there was an insert to a VIP. So everything that we did with this package oozed perceived value, like oozed it was a premium product. Even though you can buy the same product on Amazon for $5, okay, why is this one selling for 23? Or 19, but it was at least double the price of most of the competitors.
And that perceived value, I mean, I get it when someone actually opens the package at home, the box from Amazon, and they see it and they go, wow, that looks really cool. Are you showing that perceived value of the packaging through the photography? Is that like in your main image? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, Fiverr. For me, Fiverr or getting your next door neighbor because they have an iPhone, it just doesn't work. If you're going to these guys that are selling pictures for $10, $15 an image, $25 an image, you're going to get what you pay for. Whenever I'm working with a client, I'm trying to get that client to probably spend between $750 and $2,200 on images. So that would consist of usually maybe 3 or 4 product images, well lit, proper lens. It's so important. And then making some really creative looking images. So we were developing this product, and on the left, you have an incredible camera angle. It's perfect. On the right, if you split test this, we separated the two and we showed the two bottles. This is just taking at a slightly higher elevation using a slightly different lens, complete different. And when we split tested it, we showed that we got 30% better results using the product on the left.
And you have your own photographer for your clients, or did you? Well,
I have about 5 photographers that I use.
Okay.
And some are less expensive than the others, but whenever whenever I think I could be getting over $10,000-$15,000 a month on a product, I'm going to a photographer that's probably going to cost about $1,000 at least.
Okay, cool. This is gold. This is good. And I agree. I think people overlook, they'll spend so much money on actually sourcing a product, shipping it out, getting everything set up, but then they won't spend, and it doesn't take a lot, right? It's 15 cents more, 20 cents on some packaging, or a little bit more on the photography, because if the photography looks terrible, no one's going to click in. If they do click in and they look at your images real quick, they're out. They don't like it. So,
how about this? A handwritten note.
A handwritten note. Tell us about that.
All right. So you can go to these kitting assembly places. You can go to your fulfillment center. You can go to the manufacturer, and you can just hire them. And for 2, 3, 4 cents a note, they'll just write something. So for soap, it could be lather up, enjoy this incredible experience, or something like that. We have 10, 15 sayings. It's all handwritten. Thank you for your purchase. Enjoy your soap club experience, or something like that. Just something that personalizes it. We want to build loyalty. So,
wait, is this a handwritten note that you then copy tons of times, or are you talking about every single? No.
Okay, if we're ordering like 5,000 units, there's 5,000 notes, and there's 10 people writing, 50 notes or whatever, 500 notes. And then we pay, 4 cents, 3 cents for the note.
Okay. All right. And then the factory or whoever's putting it all together will have a big stack of them, and they're just putting them in one at a time.
And, when you're doing this, when you're kind of doing all of the little things, so a lot of times when we're creating a package, so we'll do the handwritten note, or we'll do some form of note. We'll do the VIP or the coupons. We might have some internal packaging. So again, let's use a bar of soap. You might have it where there's a cloth with a sticker on it or a wax stamp on it, something that's pennies. But yet, when the user opens up the box, we never take the box from the top. We always have them unveil the product. So now you see it. It tells you this really incredible, inspirational message when they open it. Then when they look down, they see the soap. And then underneath that, they have the handwritten note, and they have, it might be like for us with one of our products, we donate to this one charity that helps empower women in third world countries and give them their communities safe drinking water. I mean, people love it, and we were happy to do that because we believe in that charity.
What do you do with pricing to actually outcompete your competitors?
I put together a really small case study. a little background information on this. The guy was selling this product for 18 months. He sold under $1,000 worth of product. The product was incredible. Anybody who did use it loved it. So wart remover, okay, glamorous. So we don't have to make it look like wart remover. We don't have to use ugly colors. We don't have to use brown bottles. So what we wanted to do is retarget it. And we came up with a fresh looking, natural, we marketed towards more wellness and natural products rather than medical or medicinal type products. And so we came up with a green bottle. We made it nice and clean. So this is with giving away 240 units. So it's not all organic sales. But at the end of the day, the first month, by changing the packaging, changing the colors, changing the brand, they were at $9.99. We brought it up to $12.99. The first month, we got $8,000 in sales. The second month, we got $28,000. The third month, we got $68,000. But we ran out of inventory 10 days into it because the guy didn't want to spend $100 on transportation.
Oh, geez.
So anyways, we had to fight back. We got it back. The next month, I think, was 74. But now I just pulled these numbers off because we're selling the product. In August, we sold it for $19.99. And here, I'm not kidding. This is profit, okay? This is everything taken out. If we would have stayed at $9.99, he would have, with the amount of units that we sold in August, he would have got 2,500. By the time we got to August, he did 55,000. In September, he ended up with $76,000 profit, which was a difference of $71,000 if he didn't try to get that product to go up. Now, what do? We split test everywhere. We're constantly trying to see where our limits are on the profit. And I think right now, $23, $24 is probably the maximum. Once you start to see the sales drop and the profit drop for the month, then we start to play around with it a bit more. But it's all about perception. And this guy would have got $2,000. So a guy taking a course, going and doing it the way he's supposed to, without playing around with this, without adding little things, this is $76,000 profit.
That's crazy. I mean, and the image difference between that, kind of dull, boring brown bottle versus that nicely lit, backlit, kind of refreshing green. It's like, I want that. That looks like something I want to use. The other one looks like, like you said, almost like a medical product. I got to drip it on there. And so I can see why you could get that, those sales. Even if you're not the cheapest one, people will look at that. If that other product was $9.95 and your new product was $19.95, people will still buy the more expensive one just based on the way it looks on that perceived value.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So that's super awesome. Wow. Okay. So it's crazy that you have clients that are making, close to six figures in profit, and then they argue about $100 shipping bill.
Yep.
And that was a great example, guys, by the way. Spend a little bit of time on that kind of stuff. The bottles, is that all you? Are you the one that goes in and designs like, okay, we're going to go from this brown bottle to green bottles, or do you have like a team that you've built up that actually goes in and advises on all of this?
Actually, one of the factories that we built in China was a packaging company. So we ended up doing all sorts of specialty packaging. So that was actually me. I went out and I found these different bottles, but I do have a team that goes out, and all I'll do, let's say it's Dead Sea mud. How can you compete in a really saturated market? And then they'll go out and try to find a really premium or unique looking bottle, and then we'll just build the brand, build the story behind it, and then launch.
Is this part of a formula, or do you have a formula? And if so, what kind of returns do you see from that formula?
Well, usually when I'm looking, I've got to get, if I'm looking at a product that's $1, I've got to be able to get $4 back. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense if you're not getting those types of multiples.
Okay, so your ROI is always right around, you're trying to get a 4X on everything.
At least. I've literally got things, well, I told you about the ships that one time, but I mean, you're looking at 10 times, 10 times profit, coming back.
Wow. Okay. And
Yeah.
that's after everything, all expenses, everything?
Yeah, and we'll put into giveaways. We put a ton of time into press releases. We use Amazon PPC, and usually, we'll use around 20%. That's our rate, 23% when we go into a marketing budget. And yeah, those are the types of returns we're getting.
Okay. Do you, if the majority of products are priced at a certain level, let's say they're almost all at $9.95 as an example. Do you try to launch right at that price point, or do you always just say, you know what, forget about it and go a little higher? What's your process there of launching?
Well, first of all, I take a look to see if there is product cannibalization. So has the price dropped dramatically over the last little while? And if there's a bunch of bottom feeders on the, out of those 16, let's say 10 are bottom feeders, I let them continue to be bottom feeders. Maybe for the first week or for the first few days, I'll drop the price. So I want to get sales momentum. And then after that, I bring it right up. Matter of fact, a new strategy that we're just trying right now is we double the price. So we double the retail value of the price. And we provide either, for the most part, we're providing gift cards, and then double the price. Then we bring it back down to what we think the consumer would want.
On Amazon, a lot of products will have the retail price, right? And then they have the sales price. Are you saying, when you say you're doubling the retail price, just the one that has a line crossed out through it, and then you have a different sales price?
Okay, so if we've got all those $9.95 guys that are on the bottom, I'm going to try to go out. Let's say that my sale would be $15. Okay, so we're $4 or $5 more. When I actually launch the product, I'm at $30.
Okay.
So then I'll hand out a bunch of gift certificates at $30, and then I'll bring the price down to $15.95, and I'll start the price optimization there. Because if people are willing to pay $30 for the product,
yeah.
What I've seen recently is that we've had some really great optimization with people paying double value.
How do you get them on a launch to actually pay that, though? Are you doing this through PPC, through sponsored ads, or?
Well, I've got for me, I just have a group of people a fairly large group of people that help us out with the purchases.
How many people do you have on your team?
39.
39. Okay. How many are in-house?
I outsource everything except for one person.
Really?
Everything. And what I do when I outsource is I don't get just a VA. I get the expert in writing copy, expert for PC, expert for whatever it is. And then I segregate, like everything is separated, and they do what they do best, and then they just talk amongst each other.
Okay. And you are the guy that gave me the idea of literally trying to outsource everything you can to free up your time, because you even have a content consumption person, which we now have because of you, because you don't have time to go through every podcast or every webinar or read every article. So they go through everything, and then they condense it down into nice little chunks, and then you can decide if it's valuable and whether you need to make an SOP out of it. Is that right?
Isn't that cool?
It's awesome. It's amazing. You guys should rewind that and listen to that again, because there's only so many hours in the day. You can't get to everything. So you hired somebody, and I'm going to have to ask you at some point to see one of your. I want to compare our guys to yours and see if we're doing the same kind of stuff, because it's very interesting, and you get a lot. I mean, there's probably 10 hours worth of Amazon webinars and podcasts every single day if you wanted to listen to them, and there's always that gold nugget somewhere.
Yeah.
So if you can have someone go through that and you can condense all that down into something you can read in 15 minutes. Before we go, are there any things that I didn't ask you about, something that you really want to cover in this episode?
Oh, geez. Perceived value is probably, I think if I could leave a message, is you really got to take a look at your competitors and how they're doing things, and you've got to do it differently. And you don't have to spend a lot of money doing it. You can just spend pennies to really make a lot of dollars. And 100%, don't be afraid to bring up your price, but it's got to warrant it. So if you don't have the brand, if you don't have that culture behind your brand, it's going to flop. So as long as everything if you're selling a premium product, don't put it in a crappy Chinese box. Spend the money, get a really quality, get the right people to design it. For me, I don't go to Fiverr. I go to, specialists. So that's probably the best, the easiest way for me to tell people to, they can literally double their profits.
I have a final question for you. If you could go back to when you first started this whole process, you're going back in time and you're talking to yourself, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, I think there's probably two things. One is you really can't beat yourself up when you have a failure. You've got to learn from that failure. It's actually probably the best learning experience that you can have. Apply it, figure out what you did, and turn it around and make it a positive. The second thing is get in there, and if something's not working, and if you can't change it, if you've got a crappy product, cut it as soon as you possibly can.
You know what? I normally end here, but I want to end on something a little differently. Because again, we could talk for so long. There's so many good things. But I want you to end this on the story that you told me about the boats. Can we end on that? Because that was awesome. If you can sum that up in a couple minutes, that'd be awesome.
Okay. So you don't have to be sourcing just in China. So we source all over, ended up in Vietnam, went into this factory looking for furniture, ended up seeing boats. So there was an opportunity. Miami Boat Show was coming up. I thought, wow, these are really cool. These are 3-foot long wooden replica boats. So we bought a 20-foot container worth of boats, got them over to Miami, unloaded, sat there for 2 days, and absolutely sold nothing. I thought, oh, this is a disaster. And so this lady on a Sunday came over and she said, what's wrong with your boats? I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, why are they so cheap? And I looked, she told me where the other competitor was, and it was a Chinese competitor, and they were selling these boats for $3,500 a pop, $2,500 to $3,500 a pop, and they were terrible. So I went back, got our price list, went over to Kinko's, came back, revised the price, and we brought the price from $750 up to $2,500, and we sold out.
Sold out.
Yeah, and the boats cost me
$85. So again, that is like the perfect way to end this podcast on perceived value. You didn't change anything other than the price. People go, man, it must be really good.
That'd be a great.
It's the same price as the other guys, but your boat is way better. And you just sold, and you sold out. How fast was that? Like
by the end of the week.
Wow.
So crazy. I think at the end of the day, when all the vendors are ripping down, they all came over, and I think we had about 13, maybe 20 boats left, and so we were giving deals out. But yeah, we were getting full pop.
If people want to reach out to you, I'll tag you in our Facebook group. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Sure.
Okay, perfect. So, guys, Norm Farrar, this guy just brings it. He's probably the nicest Amazon seller I've ever met, and one of the nicest people I know personally. The guy is just amazing. He's always giving. He's been in the industry forever. So if you have questions, ask. Tag him right there in the post. We're going to be posting this, by the way, if you're not part of our Facebook group. It's called the FBA High Rollers group on Facebook, and you can get there by going to ampmpodcast.com/Facebook. And I've got, I think, about 24,000 other Amazon sellers in there. But Norman, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Hang loose, because I want to set up another episode with you, and we're going to fix the video issues and then get into all the questions that I still have. Is that cool?
Perfect. And thanks for having me.
I'm super excited to have you. So this is awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
You've been listening to the AMPM podcast, hosted by Manny Coates. For more information, insider tools, and to get the resources mentioned in this episode, visit ampmpodcast.com.